In a month, the Common App will open and this will allow students to submit their personal statement and application. And writing the college essay can be hard and takes a lot of time, as we haven't written a lot of essays about our life. It's very different from a school essay. So that's why I've decided to create this video to kind of help you guys through this process and share some insights that I've learned from other YouTube videos online, and also share some insights from my experience so that I can help you guys avoid some common mistakes and also save time while writing this essay. And before I begin, I want to thank everyone for watching my last video where I go over 20 college decisions and my stats and extracurriculars, as well as what I've learned through the whole process. So I highly suggest watching this video because I reveal some important things to know for starting your college applications and common mistakes that you should definitely avoid. And if you're interested in applying for some BSMD programs, I give some tips on that as well. And if you're new here, consider liking and subscribing, as I plan to post more content in the future about the college application process. And my next videos, I will go over how to write the supplemental essays for like the UCs, Ivy Leagues, and the BSMD programs. Because not only do you need to know how to write the personal essays, personal statements, but you also need to know how to write these smaller essays, and they're slightly different. And also show you guys how to win tons of scholarship money to help you go to college almost tuition free. And my overall goal is to help you guys get into your dream school, so consider sticking around. So for the first step is going to be brainstorming. Right now, the Common App has released all of its essay prompts. Although the application isn't open, it would be a good idea to start now. I've linked the prompts in the description where it brings you to the Common App website. And just for some advice, I don't think it would be a bad idea to start if you're going to be applying to many schools, as this will save you time later on to fill out supplemental essays and other things that you need to do for the college applications. So for the brainstorming process, I want you to grab a piece of paper, a snack, and just jot down some ideas. Take your time with this process, as it can be pretty hard to think of things on the top of your head, and just allow it to happen naturally. So some good ideas you can write down, or some topics you could talk about, are a pivotal moment or time in your life, some topic or hobby that you're interested in, like sports, art, movies, or any type of passion you have. The more specific to you, the better. And I want you to write down anything. There's no such thing as a bad idea, and I don't want you to just remove it if you think it's a bad idea, because later on, these bad ideas could spark new ideas. And it's also helpful to have a page in your notes app to jot down some ideas when you think of one randomly, so that you don't lose a good thing you could put into your essays. This was especially helpful to me, as a lot of my ideas just occurred to me out of the blue. And another thing that you can use when writing and the brainstorming process is use questions to guide you.
Why?
When given a blank piece of paper, I don't really expect you to think of too many ideas, so here are some questions to guide you. I will link the rest of the 10 in the description for you. So, number 1. When you reflect on your background, including racial, cultural, socioeconomic, and family aspects, what stands out to you? What part of your background holds the most significance for you? Number 2. Considering your identity, such as religious, family, language, sexual, and gender aspects, what comes to mind? What aspects of your identity is most important to you? Number 3. If you could dedicate yourself to one hobby or interest, what would that be? So here are just 3 questions to guide you in this brainstorming process. I've linked the other 7 in the description for you. And just a resource for writing your college essay, I would recommend College Essay Guy. His website is very thorough, and the articles are also very detailed for this process. I've linked his website in the description, so you can check him out later. So once you have a ton of ideas after writing, I want you to filter them out. In the first step, we were using divergent thinking, which refers to we just thought of any ideas without filter. Now we want to actually cross them out and keep the ideas that we like. So in this step, I want to make sure that no ideas are repetitive. If they do, just combine them. And I want you to test each of them by free writing. So take some time to write down anything you can think of, whether it's an anecdote on a topic, some information about some important people, and other sensory details, anything you can remember of the event. And after you've done that, I'm going to take your time to actually make sure it passes these 3 tests to make sure you have a reliable essay to write about and enough to expand on. Number 1, is your topic exciting and gives room to explore? And does it reveal a part of you, a trait, belief, or your identity? And can you make valuable connections with this topic? So what I'm talking about here is I want you to make sure you have enough material to write about and that you actually remember this event enough that you can write a lot about it. Since let's just say you wanted to write something that happened back in pre-K but you don't remember anything, the topic is probably not the best option because you can barely write anything about it, and in the college essay writing process you want to write as much about it as you can and be as specific as you can. And just a thing that I forgot to mention before we move on to the next step is if you're writing about an event, make sure to accompany also how you changed and took action. I don't want you to just write about what happened to you, but also write about what you did and use this to kind of guide your writing. Now for the next step. Now that you've done some free writing, decide which essay you can use to expand on and make your first draft. And here are some strategies you can use to start your draft. Number 1, you can use the anecdote. And with the anecdote, I want you to include some sensory details and just paint a picture in your reader's mind with some specific word choice and also convey the importance of the moment to the reader. And in this essay, be sure that you also show emotion and vulnerability. And here's just an example of how I use the anecdote strategy. In the quiet stillness of the night, as the world retreated into slumber, there I lie drifting off into sleep, as my grandmother sleeps beside me, gently patting my back. The soft glow of the television filled the room, often displaying some Chinese drama or nightly game show. The rhythmic motion of her hand on my back lulled me into a peaceful slumber, while the voices emanating from the TV provide a gentle backdrop to these moments. So in this opening, I just painted a picture in the mind and keeps the reader engaged. Another one, you can use a twist. So how do we utilize this strategy? So what I mean is I want you to write about a topic and then completely diverge from this topic, as it can be used to uncover some part of you or some truth. And here's what I mean. So in this essay, I wrote about wildcrats, and I kind of tied my childhood love for wildcrats to my current passion for science. And this is how I did it. And I kind of shortened this version as, the actual version is pretty long. As a child, I have always been passionate about science. When I was 6, I enjoyed watching the kids show Wildcrats, which follows the adventures of 2 brothers and their crew of scientists as they explore the animal kingdom. As I watched these episodes, I realized that learning was not confined to the classroom, but called for individuals to explore and question the world around them. So what I did in this essay was I used a common TV show that many people know and tied it with my passion for science, as well as a truth or belief, which was in the last sentence. So here's how you can outline your body paragraph. So I would take the prompt that you're writing about and annotate it to guide you in your writing. So let me give you an example. So here's just one of the prompts I have. The lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recall a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you and what did you learn from the experience? So some things to point out would be you want to list the time you faced a challenge, how did it affect you, and what did you learn? So kind of what we've already covered, right? List a moment, a period of growth and how you took action, and also the lasting influence on you, which is what you learned. And when writing, it's also helpful to have some kind of structure, and I would suggest you write it either chronologically or tie it to a common theme or message you're trying to convey. Me personally, I prefer the chronological way, but it's whatever works for you, really. And when writing, I wouldn't worry too much about grammar or technicalities, because after all, this is just a draft that we're writing, and that is what the revising stage is for. And when writing, make sure to be vulnerable in your essay. Don't be afraid to show emotion, because after all, the admission officer wants to better get to know you. And how you can do that in the essay is by opening up. And let me just give you an example. So the context of this essay is my experience when my grandmother passed away and how that kind of shaped me. So here it is. So this is after my grandmother passed away, and this is kind of how I felt. I found myself grappling with the overwhelming sense of confusion and loss. The once familiar rhythm of life seemed to falter as the world itself was echoing my disbelief. I searched for traces of her presence, a reassuring voice, or a comforting touch, only to be met with an unsettling void. Each passing moment was a reminder of the abruptness with which she had departed, and the normalcy of everyday life now carried an eerie weight. And after this, I accompanied this with a paragraph of a moment of growth and how I took action, kind of how her passing had an effect on me. The aching of loss evolved into a driving force, steering me toward a profound realization. If life could be so fragile and short, then my life needed to be one of importance. It was during these contemplative moments that I felt a natural pull towards oncology, the study of cancer. The very disease that had claimed my grandmother now became the battleground where I could make a difference. So, even though I did write about how everything happened and how I felt, I also made sure to accompany a moment of action to kind of say, like, I'm not the type of person that just sits around and let things happen. I'm also the type of person that takes action, and this is a very good message to convey to the officers. So before I move on to the revising stage, I just want to give you some quick tips on writing the draft. One, just remember this essay is going to be very different from any school essay you've written in the past, so it's smart to give yourself at least a month to work on your personal statement to have a quality essay written. Because rather than searching the internet and doing research, you're actually searching within yourself for material. So it's not a good idea to write this essay overnight. And make sure to have multiple drafts and have many people read them, as you'll get different kinds of feedback and better improve your essay. Now for the revising stage. So for this stage, I would use Grammarly to better phrase your essay and check for grammar mistakes. And if you want, you can use ChatGPT to help reword and improve the flow of your essay, but I would refrain from copying everything word for word, as that's kind of academic dishonesty, and some ways that ChatGPT phrases a sentence is kind of weird. So have your own style of writing. And also make sure to read your essay out loud to ensure the flow of the essay, because I find by reading the essays out loud, I'm better able to catch these mistakes that I would otherwise miss just by reading in my head. And make sure to get your family, friends, and teacher to read your essay, because each person kind of gives a different feedback. Like family and friends, they can check the authenticity of your essay, and if this essay is really talks about you, and the teacher will give tips like on like the technicalities and kind of use their experience in reading past essays. And also another resource you can use is the College Vine peer review. It's completely free, but after a while you will need credits, and these credits can be earned by reading other people's essay. Why I highly recommend this is because for this peer essay review, you can submit really any essay. It can be a college essay, and it can be a scholarship essay. So what they do is they make you fill out the college you're writing it for and the prompt, and it requires each reader to spend at least an hour on your essay, so you're getting some pretty quality feedback here. So that's about it for the whole college essay writing process, but before I leave, I'd like to share some extra tips and advice for you guys. So ideally, I would submit my college essay as soon as possible, as this will improve your admissions to any university. And the reason being is as more people apply, these seats fill up, right? And if you're getting closer to the deadline, there are only very few seats available, and your chances basically drop. And so just a general tip, I recommend students to apply early action, as it has been proven that these acceptance rates are actually higher than your regular decision. And for those considering early decision, I don't have much to say, as I never applied to one. And the reason being is because for me, I don't think there's any way of knowing which college I'll end up with, because for me, I did not know I would go to UTD, and that was the end result. And by applying early, you can actually get your work done sooner, and you can stress less about it throughout the whole year. And it's your senior year again, so make sure to have fun. And for those ambitious students who are looking to apply to like 20 universities, make sure to get the personal statement done on time, preferably as soon as possible in September and October, because when you're applying to Ivies and UCs and other competitive programs, they often require you to write a lot of supplementals, which can be time consuming. So for the IVs, I know they make you write around 8 short essays around 50 to 150 words. For the UCs, they make you write 4, choosing out of 8 prompts, which are all 350 words. For UT Austin, they make you write 4 essays, all 300 words. And speaking of the supplemental essays, I am currently working on a video that shows you how I wrote the supplemental essays for Brown, the UCs, UT Austin, and the BSMD programs. And I'll be sharing those essays that got me into like UT Austin for biomedical engineering. So if UT Austin is one of your top schools, I recommend watching. And just an extra tip, which is about scholarships, don't let that go out of your mind. Because a lot of these good scholarships have very early deadlines, like the Burger King and the Coca-Cola scholarships. Even though the chances are very low, but I would say that you should definitely shoot your shot and don't miss the deadline. And if you're looking to apply to scholarships, I recommend also applying to the smaller ones. And I will be talking about scholarships in a later video on how I was able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships. So I definitely recommend watching that. So yeah, that's about it for this video, and thank you for watching. I hope you like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.